no, am I going to have enough battery left? Hey there, and welcome to Family Worship. I'm really excited to be with you today, but I just realized I don't know if I'm going to have enough battery in my camera to film what I need to film. Oh, have you ever had a time when you didn't know if you would have enough of something? Maybe you didn't know if you were going to have enough gas in your car, or maybe you didn't know if you would have enough water for a hike, or maybe you were having a party and you didn't know if you were going to have enough food for all your friends, or maybe you didn't know if you were going to have enough time to study for a test or a quiz at school. You know, sometimes we don't know if we're going to have enough of something, and it can make us pretty nervous or worry. Well, today we are talking and learning about how God is enough. The great news is that when you're a disciple, a follower of Jesus, He is always enough for us. And like we learned last week, because we follow Jesus, He cares for us and we don't have to worry. Well, we're going to be talking more about how Jesus is enough for us. But first, we are going to get started on practicing this month's memory verse, which is Luke 9:23. And it says, "Then He said to them all, 'Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me.'" Now we're going to play a fun game of Simon Says to learn this verse. The way it works is one person is going to be Simon. They're going to say a portion or a part of the verse, and then everyone else is going to repeat after them. Now, if you're playing Simon, feel free to make it a little more fun by adding motions while you say the verse. All right, go ahead, say the verse, play the game, and have some fun. Welcome back, and now we are going to do our next activity, which is playing a game called Bigger and Better. You are going to have some objects in front of you, maybe like a coat hanger or a clothespin or a paper clip, something like that. Your job is to see if you can make it bigger somehow or better somehow. Maybe you can create something new out of the item that's in front of you. So be creative and go ahead, have fun, and play the game.
Get your water right here. Yes, you sir. Here, you drink this up. Here you go, ma'am. You drink that up. All right, get your water. Oh, shalom. Hello there. My name is Moses. Yeah, Moses, you might have heard of me. You probably have heard stories about me as that man who, when I was born, he was a baby that was thrown into a basket in the Nile River. I know, crazy story. You might also know me as the one who God used to free His people out of Egypt. That's right. You might also know me as the one who brought down the 10 Commandments that God had given in His people. And now you're probably asking, well, Moses, if you've done all those wonderful things, why are you handing out water? Well, let me first tell you, this ain't no ordinary water, but we're gonna get to that later. But first, I heard that you're talking today about how God is enough. And I wanted to share with you the stories of how God was enough for us, the people of Israel, and how He's also enough for you. Oh, but first, let me back up and start off by sharing some of the stories of how great God has been to us. You see, His people, the Israelites, had been slaves for 400 years in Egypt, and life was rough, but God freed them from Egypt, and it was great, and God provided. He was enough for us. But as we were walking out of Egypt, you might recall, Pharaoh, he had a change of heart, and he said, "Oh no, not on my watch. I want those Israelites back as my slaves." Well, here we were trapped between the Red Sea and his army, and we thought we was going to die, but God was enough. And he used me to part the Red Seas. Oh, it was amazing. We crossed, and then God closed up the sea, and all of Pharaoh's army, they just were gone like that. God provided, and he was enough. When we were in the wilderness, God gave us food. The manna and the quail was delicious. Oh, it was marvelous. God gave us enough. You see, God has always provided for us. Now, while he's been providing for us, he's also told us something very important. He said, "Listen, I am your one true God, and you shall have no other gods, no other idols before me." Now, you would think that after all that he had done, it wouldn't be a problem. Now, let me pause for a moment, because I know what you're thinking. You heard the word idol, and you're thinking, we don't have idols anymore. I don't have any statues in my room. Well, okay, so a statue, an idol could be a statue, I suppose. But what an idol really is anything that we put in front of in our hearts that's more important than God. Okay? And God said, nothing should be more important than me. And he wanted his people to trust him. After all, he is enough, and he always provides. Well, finally the day came, and God said to me, "Moses, go up to Mount Sinai. I have something that I need to give to you that you're going to give to the people." Spoiler alert, it was the 10 Commandments. Now get this, I go up to the mountain. No one else was supposed to go with me. Now I was up there for a little longer than I had expected, for 40 days. Well, while I was out there, the people began to worry. Now, when they began to worry, they forgot about how God has always been enough. And they began to doubt that God would provide for them. What if he wouldn't keep them safe? What if he wouldn't give them food? So then they put their heads together and they came up with this crazy idea. They said, "Let's make an idol." Oy, 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 what were they thinking? After all, God said, don't make idols. Well, they got all their gold together and put in a big pile and melted it up. And do you know what they made? If you said a golden calf, you're right. Oh, it was crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, a pile of gold can be pretty shiny and all, but you can't pray to it. A pile of gold, it can't do anything to help you. Oh, so they make this gold calf and they start praying to it, thinking that it can help them. Well, I get down from the mountain finally with the 10 Commandments. No, I was so upset. I took those stones and I threw them down and I broke them. I said, "What are you people doing? You can't have a golden calf. You can't make an idol." Oh, it was heartbreaking. It was sad because the people forgot that God is enough. The people, they put their trust in something else other than God. Oh, it made me angry, but it broke God's heart. So there was something that I did to kind of teach him a lesson, which brings us to today, which is not the best day in Israel's history. You see, I told him, you take that idol and you crush it and you grind it into a dust. And then we took that dust and we mixed it with water, and voila, here we go. We got all this mineral water, if you will. So we are giving it to all the Israelites, and I told them, you need to drink it and you need to remember the mistake so you don't make this mistake again. And when you drink it and it tastes nasty and it's bitter, just remember how nasty it is to have an idol, to not trust in God, but to put your trust in anything else. Hopefully, it'll be a big reminder that we can always remember to trust in God because He is enough. Oh, now again, I know what you're thinking. You're like, Moses, don't worry about us. We're not going to build any golden idols or anything like that. But listen carefully, because in our own lives, we can have idols or trust in other things other than God. Let me give you some examples. For example, maybe you think listening to your friends over listening to God is a better option because then you won't get picked on or teased on. Well, that's thinking that God is not enough for you and trusting in other people. Or perhaps there was a time when maybe you didn't think you had enough time to study for a test or to do a project, so you cut some corners and maybe you cheated on the test. Oh dear, because you didn't think that you had enough. And well, that wasn't trusting God, because God would never ask us to do what's wrong and be dishonest. You see, there's plenty of times where we might not think that we have enough, and so we try to take control and we do the things that God does not want us to do. He wants us to trust Him and to obey Him. As His disciples, we can show our allegiance because we can trust God, because He is enough. So remember, we don't have to trust in other things because God is enough. And we can show our allegiance to God because He is enough. Now, I have some questions for you to talk about since we just had this great conversation. Thank you for listening, by the way. All right, my first question is, how did God show the Israelites that He loved them and that He was enough for them? Go ahead, discuss it. Okay, my next question. So after God provided everything for them, what was the first commandment He asked them to obey? And why was it so important that they didn't have an idol in their life? All right, go ahead and talk about that. Oh, and for my last question, what does it mean to say that God is enough in our lives? Oh, go ahead and talk about that. And again, thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad you could be here. Now, if you excuse me, I got some more mineral water to hand out. Have a great day. Shalom. All right, get your water. You, sir, don't forget your water.
Well, like we learned today, a lot of times in our lives we might feel like we don't have enough of something. And if we don't think that we have enough, it can cause us to trust in other things. Well, I hope you will remember that God is always enough, and He always provides the things that we need. What does that mean for us? It means that we can trust in Jesus at all times. We don't have to put our trust in other things or other people. We can know that God will take care of us, and we can show our allegiance by not trusting in other things, but by always trusting in God. So this week, if something ever happens that causes you to wonder, do I have enough of it? Just remember, God will give you enough of what you need, and you can always trust in Him. Thank you for joining us for this week's family worship. I hope you had a great time, and I hope you will remember that we can always show our allegiance because God is always enough.